What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at whether WWE is destroying its characters, as Bray Wyatt says yes, Brandi Rhodes not being a fan of Cody's tattoo, is Dynamite moving to Monday nights, The Big Show talks big backstage heat in WWE, is the WWE fighting the Revival's trademark, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story on whether WWE is destroying its characters. Well, Bray Wyatt says yes. Is Bray Wyatt dealing with some resentment in the light of his recent loss to Goldberg? A fan tweeted the following regarding new Smackdown Tag Team Champions The Miz and John Morrison's non-title loss to the Usos on Smackdown, saying, "You booked your brand new Tag Team Champions to lose clean in a non-title match? Are they trying to completely destroy their characters?" Bray Wyatt's response? Yes. The WWE is well known for using social media to work the fans, so take this tweet with the proverbial grain of salt. Still, it would make sense after Bray Wyatt dropped the Universal Championship to Bill Goldberg at Super Showdown. It's also difficult to believe Wyatt was happy dropping the title to Goldberg just weeks before WrestleMania, likely resulting in The Fiend missing out on headlining the show. Of course, headlining always means a big payday. Next up, Brandi Rhodes is not a fan of Cody's tattoo. Last night at AEW Revolution, Cody sported what looked to be a rub-on tattoo from a chewing gum packet on his neck. Now, each to their own, but as you can imagine, we're no fans of the tat, and neither is Cody wife's Brandi Rhodes. In a post-AEW Revolution press conference, she mentioned, "I'm the one person that doesn't like the neck tattoo. I don't like it. I've said it. There it is." She went on to say, "My husband makes his own decisions. He's allowed to make his own decisions. If I decided to do something crazy, he can just let me make my own decisions. So if I decide to do something crazy, he can just let me make my own decisions." Well, we hope Cody enjoys laser surgery when in a good few years' time, that skull tattoo will resemble an old jack-o'-lantern that's still sitting out on the porch come Christmas. Next up, did John Cena increase SmackDown's ratings? There doesn't seem to be any doubt, at least in the short term, after both John Cena and Bill Goldberg appeared on Friday Night SmackDown, as according to Paul Fontaine of the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online, with the episode featuring the return of John Cena and coming off the heels of Goldberg's Universal title win, last night's SmackDown drew the show's best viewership since its second week on Fox. Last night's episode averaged 2.717 million viewers. It opened with 2.736 million viewers in the first hour and only dropped 0.6% in hour 2. The episode matched last week's demographic in the 18 to 49 age, another strong showing in this important area. Although Fontaine noted Cena's return in the final segment would seem to indicate there was a reason for the strong number, we can't be certain without the quarterly ratings breakdown, as the argument can be made there were people equally invested in seeing what was next for Goldberg. At the same time, there's no denying Cena bumped the ratings, and arguably Goldberg too. The problem, of course, is that these rating bumps can't be sustained, as viewers traditionally tune out when they know that legends are absent. The best the WWE can hope for is to get some of these viewers to come back next week after what was an excellent edition of SmackDown. Next up, Paul Heyman will be involved in the Goldberg vs Roman Reigns build. While Paul Heyman is busy serving as Raw's executive producer for its creative team, WrestleVotes noted that he'll be busy helping out a program on the Blue brand. WrestleVotes tweeted, "Although the match is on the SmackDown side of the card, Paul Heyman will have some influence on the build and storyline for the Goldberg vs Roman Reigns Universal title matchup at WrestleMania." Heyman shares very strong relationships with both, especially Goldberg. As we noted in a previous video, Bill Goldberg recently credited Paul Heyman with helping him prepare for his programs, and it's obvious Dollar Bill is comfortable with Heyman guiding him as he prepares for WrestleMania 36. Next up, MJF takes heel heat to new levels. The days of wrestlers living their gimmick may seem a thing of the past, but not so with MJF, who took things extreme, perhaps too far in some fans' eyes. Someone posted a picture of a sick kid at a hospital with the following message: "Today my buddy had his tonsils removed. Rough recovery for him, but is so excited he'll be home tomorrow to watch Cody Rhodes destroy MJF at AEW. Can't wait to take him to a live event." Never one to show any sympathy, MJF replied, "Well, you're gonna want to have that little mistake's eyeballs removed too, so you can lie to him about the outcome of my match. MJF is better than Cody." Nice. Do we think it's too far? Hell no. Wrestlers should be showing some heel heat outside of the business, as long as they don't go too far, and in this case, he really didn't. Next up, will Dynamite move to Monday nights? Cody Rhodes recently teased the possibility of Dynamite moving to Monday nights at some point, but according to Fightful Select, that's just not happening. Tony Khan has no plans to move from Wednesdays and would never move to Mondays if he could help it. We're told that he has more to do with an NFL conflict than anything, considering the Khan family has a substantial interest with them owing the entirety of the Jacksonville Jaguars team, and it would effectively be competing against themselves. As we pointed out before, AEW has been wise in not poking the WWE bear too much, and frankly has nothing to gain by counter-programming Dynamite against the WWE. Next up, The Big Show recalls big backstage heat in WWE. The Big Show landed a major deal when he jumped ship from WCW to the WWF, but things weren't coming up roses once he began working in Titan Land. During his appearance on the Broken Skull sessions, The Big Show recalled the incredible locker room heat that was on him, heat so bad that, well, I first started riding with Public Enemy. That's how bad it was, with all due respect. But the top shelf guys weren't talking to me. Rock was good to me, Rock was very nice to me, and Rock was doing his own thing and building himself as well. I was too lightning red hot in the locker room to be friends with. Do you know what I mean? And since I was a new guy, I was a big guy, I had gotten that big contract, all that stuff that pissed everybody off. It was difficult. Public Enemy weren't in the WWF long, but they had X-Pac level heat with the WWF locker room, so that should tell you all you need to know about the Big Show's situation at the time. It would take a few years before the Big Show finally found his groove in the WWE, but it's safe to say he's done very well for himself since then. Next up, Dustin Rhodes talks Luke Harper and Matt Hardy in AEW. While nothing has been confirmed, rumors are flying that Luke Harper and Matt Hardy could end up in AEW. Speaking to the New York Post, Dustin Rhodes, the artist formerly known as Goldust, shared his feelings on the two working in the company. I think they'd bring creativity. Harper, man, is incredible. I've worked with him many times with the Wyatt family, me and Cody did, and he knows his stuff, and he's not a greenhorn in the business. He can help people, he can take them to new highs, and he can get them there, and at the same time get himself over in a company that will allow him to do so. Matt Hardy, if he comes here, my god, he's been through so many different variations on YouTube and things like that with WWE. He's so creative in all the things he does that when we do it with him, it's gonna touch gold. Both men do have a lot to offer wherever they go, other than the WWE, and AEW will likely be very happy if they show up very soon. Next up, Eric Bischoff goes off on Tony Khan. It looks like we may be seeing the start of an online feud between former WCW head honcho Eric Bischoff and current AEW president Tony Khan. Not too long ago, Khan discussed how he hopes to learn from WCW's mistakes while he guides AEW. Eazy-E fired back at Khan during Bischoff's 83 Weeks podcast.
I know that's an interesting, thing for Mr. Khan to say. He's been in the professional wrestling business for what time is it? It's about a cup of coffee. I think I think your coffee could still be warm at this point. And so far, he spent, from what I've heard, I don't know if it's accurate or not, I want to make sure I say that, somewhere between $30 and $50 million to prove that he could be competitive with WWE's developmental territory. Call me in a couple of years and tell me what you've done that's really unique. Call me in a couple of years and let me know how you've changed the industry. Call me in a couple of years when your show is one of the top, if not the top, original piece of programming on the TNT network. Call me in a couple of years when you're number 2, number 3, number 4 in all of cable programming for the night in prime time. And then let's talk about it. But until then, I'll just get another cup of coffee and see what happens.
It would seem Bischoff is still a tad sensitive about the role he played in both the rise and fall of WCW. Khan's statements seem to be more about learning from past mistakes than a targeted attack on ATM Eric. And our final story is WWE fighting the Revival's trademark. The WWE always does its best to control as much of a wrestler, or in this case wrestlers, intellectual property. Recently, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder of the Revival filed trademarks for no flips, just fists. WrestlingNews.co is reporting that the WWE recently filed trademarks for the mechanics and no flips, just fists, the latter without a comma. The Revival performed as the mechanics in NXT before becoming the Revival. The no flips, just fist trademark situation could lead to litigation, as it's unlikely trademarks will be granted for two similar names. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. What do you guys think of these stories? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.